Hey, this is Gary from Pixami, bringing you a complete demonstration of our Yearbook Pro online yearbook software for the 2020 to 21 school year. Thanks a lot for joining in. Before we start the demo, I'm going to spend just about 5 minutes on an overview of Pixami and our products and bring up a few other points that I think are important when considering what yearbook software to choose. And this is especially true of this season. So let's start with a little bit about Pixami. We've been in business for over 20 years now. Our primary business is developing and licensing online publishing apps for yearbooks and then also for photo books and other photo gifting products. Pixami actually invented the first ever online photo book software way back in 1999. In addition, we have a full-blown e-commerce platform that supports both of these products. In terms of yearbooks, we have two different design products. Yearbook Pro, which is the focus of this video, is our most advanced product for designers that want the most available features and maximum flexibility. YB Essentials, which is new this year, is based on Yearbook Pro, but it's a more basic product focused on novice users, smaller books, and smaller schools. Check out our YB Essentials demo if you're interested in more information on that product. Both Pixami products have several key advantages over other yearbook solutions. First off, all Pixami products are truly 100% web-based. Our products use HTML5, the latest and greatest app technology that does not require any downloads or installation. This is a big advantage in initial and ongoing ease of use. Pixami users don't have to worry about system or browser compatibility, what platform they're on, and they don't have to jump through hoops to install an application or a plugin. Pixami's platform also offers complete flexibility in terms of your chosen platform and browser. Windows, Mac, Apple's iOS, Android OS, and even Google's Chrome OS. Pixami runs on all of it, giving our users the flexibility to use the software on their laptop, Chromebook, or even their favorite mobile device with their browser of choice. Pixami software is also brandable and customizable, so our customers can own and tailor the experience to meet the needs of their schools. Beginner to advanced feature sets serve the specific needs of all age groups and skill levels, even allowing novice and advanced users to successfully work together on a yearbook project in the same software. And finally, Pixami's yearbook software products include a secure, customizable e-commerce storefront that can be used to sell yearbooks, yearbook ads, and all kinds of other products online. This is a great way to simplify sales and even increase revenue for you and your school's yearbook programs. This year, as we all know, we have some big, new, unexpected challenges courtesy of the coronavirus. Pixami software has always been based on remote participation, collaboration, and team effort. But with distance learning and other unique challenges in play, these features are now critical to a successful, no-hassle yearbook season. We've even added a few other features to help Pixami customers navigate challenges and continue to thrive in the year of the coronavirus. So here are a few more points that I believe are important for you to consider as we head into the season. First of all, as many students work on the yearbook from home, the flexibility to log in from anywhere and on virtually any device is an important factor in ensuring that all students are guaranteed no-hassle access and a great experience with the software no matter where they're working from. With Pixami, students working from home should be able to get their work done just as if they were in the classroom. Next, Pixami offers online collaboration and communication features that are also critical for working from home. Users can work on their assigned sections of the book at the same time from different locations. Yearbook advisors can oversee the design process online and communicate with students within the software. Students can also communicate with one another, and the software keeps a log of all yearbook activity and communication. Further, As a portrait photographer or a yearbook publisher, you can manage all of your schools, post messages to them within the software, and even enable live chat. This level of in-software communication is critical to ensure a smooth yearbook design process when some or all of the participants may be physically apart. Pixami's yearbook software also has a very short learning curve and extensive online help and built-in video tutorials. It also incorporates design wizards to help novice users work comfortably in the software without direct supervision. Again, especially important this season with the likelihood of many students working on the yearbook primarily outside the classroom and potentially with less direct oversight. Pixami's photo post feature, which I'm going to show in the demo today, allows parents, teachers, students, and even invited community members to click a link and easily contribute photos for the yearbook from any device. This is a great way to collect photos in a year where this critical task may be just a bit more difficult. This season, we also added support for portraits, allowing parents to upload a photo of their student in the event they weren't available for an in-school portrait session. As I mentioned previously, all Pixami yearbooks can be ordered online with a secure, custom-branded e-commerce site. This year, we added the ability to ship yearbooks to students' homes for an additional fee. We've also added the ability for students to create their own personal pages for the yearbook. These features are an important way to promote the yearbook, make it easier to purchase, and to commemorate the unique at-home learning situations we're seeing this year. In terms of content, Pixami's yearbook software has always had one of the largest, most comprehensive sets of yearbook content in the business. This year, we've added a lot more relevant designs, including a great set of distance learning templates and related design elements, so students can effectively commemorate or memorialize the unique challenges and aspects of this school year. And finally, in addition to printed yearbooks, Pixami software has the ability to generate an app-based digital version of the yearbook, so students learning from home have the opportunity to have a digital yearbook day. It's also a great low-cost way to get a yearbook in the hands of students prior to the delivery of the finished printed book. All of these features will play an important role in helping to meet the challenges of this unique season and get a yearbook in the hands of every student. I'll dive into some of these features more as we walk through the demo. So with that said, let's get started on our demonstration of Yearbook Pro. You can think of Yearbook Pro as basically a website. Each school has its own unique site, and each user has their own unique login. For Pixami customers, the site can be customized in terms of the logo. The name of the site would be right here, which is typically the school name. You can also have control over the URL, so you can customize it to whatever you want. Typically, the advisor at the school will be given an initial login. The advisor can then add more users. So let's go ahead and log in and get started. When you log into Yearbook Pro, the first thing you see is the activity page. I also call this the main dashboard. This is primarily informational. As you can see up at the top, we've got a quick summary of the current status of the book, and then down below we've got a lot more detail. As an example, you can see this particular book, 54% of this book, which represents 18 pages, is in progress. 15% or five pages is completed. And so as you move through the design process, you'll ultimately have 100% of your pages approved, and then you can take the next step and generate your PDF. We see the same thing here with the cover, and then you see a lot more detail here with respect to candids and portraits. Down below is an activity log that gives you a complete listing of all the users that have logged in and the sections they've worked on and when. This happens to be all me, just because this is my demo site. Up at the top right is your custom logo, and down below that you have an information box. It has a due date, which is optional, a countdown, and then all the book specs here. And then down below that, we have a message box. This allows our customers, which might be a yearbook publisher or a portrait studio, to communicate directly to your schools. And then down below, individual school advisors can also communicate directly to their students or other designers that are working on the book. Along the top is navigation for the site. So you can see we just click on each button to get through each different page of the software. Over here, we've got help. Click on help. You've got multiple areas in the help dialog here. So first of all, you can see any warnings and errors that I have. This is a partially complete book. So you can see, for example, I've got some portraits that have been uploaded, but they haven't been flowed in on the book yet. That's pretty important. I have overlapping text or clipped text on page 26, and then I have several blank pages. And so it's always important to look at this as you go. You'll pretty much always have some different issues here you want to be aware of, and obviously you want to clean all those up before you finish and deliver the final PDF. A note, if you don't, the software will let you know that at the time that you go to submit your PDF. Down below is, again, the current status. This is really the same thing that you see up at the top. And then below that, you have a link to the user guide. This will pull up the entire user guide in another browser tab as a PDF, and it'll bring you right to the activity page section. So this is pretty handy in terms of getting used to the software. Click OK to get out of that. We'll also see that you have video help. This will bring up about a 1 or 2 minute video on every page of the software. So every page has a video help button. What I always tell people when you're just getting started with Yearbook Pro, click on every page and watch the video. Spend 15 minutes of your time. It gives you a really good tutorial overview. Okay, next let's take a look at the users page. The software supports any number of users. You can have literally just 1 or 2 users, a parent and a teacher, for example, that are working on the yearbook together, or you can have 30, 40, or 50 students working together in conjunction with the teachers, working on different sections of the book and having different tasks in collaboration. The software supports it all, and it's all set up right here. So if I want to add another user, I'll go ahead and click on the Add User button. And it'll bring up the Add User dialog. So I'll punch in the information for the user, username, first name, last name, password, and then down below I have these user roles. I think these are really important, so I'm going to go through each one of these one at a time. The user roles affect 2 things. They affect how much access the user has to certain features in the software, as well as how much access they have to the book itself. Okay, so if I take this new user we're creating and I make them a viewer, you can see exactly right here what each of these roles encompasses. So if I make this person a viewer, they can log in, they can view the book, but they can't do any editing. And so basically this might be somebody that has a vested interest in the project, interested, curious in how the book is coming along, but they're not really participating. As an example, this might be, the principal at a school. If I make someone a photographer, literally just by changing this menu here, they have access to all the photo functionality, but again, they're not participating in editing the book. The staff level, this is probably one of the most common user roles. The staff role allows you to assign users to different sections of the book. So this is a partially complete book. These are the sections that I have available right now. So I can assign this user to the new distance learning section and the introduction section. So when this user logs in, they have access to edit and work on both of those sections, but nothing else in the book. Okay, moving up, the editor and the advisor, both of these roles have full access to the book, so they can work on any section of the book. The difference being the advisor, which is the highest level role, and I'm logged in as an advisor, by the way, as you'll see as we move forward. The advisor is the only person that can actually approve and submit the final book and push it out to PDF. So the advisor role, is typically the teacher or the lead on the project at the school. Okay, we'll go ahead and cancel out of this one. And I'll show you one more thing on the users page before we go. Click on the user settings. This is where we can actually come in, we can delete a user, we can change their roles, and we can also see a complete history of the user's activity on the book. So in this case, it's me, and you can see each time that I've logged into this book, and essentially a little encapsulation of what I've done. You can also see the last time that I logged in and the number of logins that I've had in total. This is a really handy feature, especially when students are working on the book, potentially from different locations or from at home. Go ahead and cancel out of that. And next we'll come to the yearbook page. On the yearbook page or ladder page, you'll use a yearbook ladder to set up and organize your book into sections. You can assign individual sections to different users. Multiple users can also collaborate on a section. And then different users can check out each section into the editor and work on their section simultaneously with other users working from different locations. On the right-hand side, we have a section view. If I click on a section in the yearbook ladder, it'll bring that section view into view. I can also click on preview and see a larger view of that section. In addition, I can navigate through the entire book. To create a new section, we'll click on the New Section button and launch the New Section dialog. I'm going to name this section Fun Times, and I'm going to make it 10 pages. And then I can choose a theme. The software has a bunch of different built-in themes and all kinds of different design styles. In addition, it has thousands and thousands of backgrounds, pieces of clip art, design elements, different layouts, fonts, and so forth. And so, if you're a little more advanced designer or you have an idea of what you want to do, you can choose blank pages here. And you can start with blank pages, and you can build your entire section using design tools from the ground up. You can save your favorite layouts and things like that. But if you're a novice user, or you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of time to create the book, or you want a consistent look and feel throughout the entire book with limited hassle, you can click on one of the existing themes. Any of these themes can also be changed, modified, and swapped out later on. So this is always just a really great way to get started. I've been using the back to school theme in this book, so I'll go ahead and use that now, and I'll click OK. One thing I also should say, Pixami has what we call a content reference guide. It's about a 150-page PDF file. A lot of our customers also print it for their schools, and that contains all of the content completely organized so that you can preview everything that's available and have a really good understanding of what you want to do before you get started. Always a good idea. Okay, so now we have our new Fun Times section automatically added to the end of the book, page numbers 34 to 43. We can reorganize the sections in the book simply by dragging a section to its new location. The software will automatically update the page numbers, and it'll update the section in the section view. By clicking on the gear icon or the settings icon, we can also arrange the pages within a section, split and merge sections together. So essentially everything that you need to do in terms of overall organization of your book and assigning users to different sections is available right here on the yearbook ladder. Okay, now let's head over to the photos page, and we'll add some photos to use in our book. On the photos page, you can upload and organize your candid and portrait photos, as well as custom clip art. I'll walk through each one of these features, and let's start with candids. So candids by default are organized according to the sections of the book. For example, we just created a new section in our book on the ladder called Fun Times. The software created a folder called Fun Times so that I can upload photos to be used in that section. If I click on Upload, I can navigate my hard disk, find a bunch of photos that I've organized for the yearbook, and then go ahead and upload them. The upload is very fast. It uploads multiple photos at a time based on your available bandwidth, gives you elapsed time, time remaining. You can queue up additional photos and keep adding more as you're going along. You can also run it in the background. If you have any bad formats, low resolution images, or things like that, it'll notify you as well. Okay, in our case, we have enough for now. Do you want to upload more? I'll click no. Okay. You can also see that we have a new folder button, so you don't have to organize the photos just by section. You can create your own folders. You can also see in this toolbar along the top, you can select photos, you can move them into a different folder if you want to, and things like that. So you have a lot of functionality for doing all the organization that you need. There's also a little basic editor here, in addition to the editing functionality that I'm going to show you on the yearbook page. If you click on this little icon, preview icon at the top of each thumbnail, you can see a little bit larger view of all of your candidates. The Pixami software also has a indexing feature that's automatic, that's built in. Of course, from the index file, we know the page numbers for all of the portraits and the names of the students. But for candidates, we have a process for tagging them so they can also show up in the index alongside that student's portrait. And so if you basically just start typing in the student's name, it'll pull up all the appropriate students from the index file, and you can tag them in that way. And so you can move through the slideshow and tag any student that you want to appear in the index for that photo. Now moving on to portraits. Most of the functionality here is the same, but we have a couple of other features that are portrait specific. For example, Portrait Import allows you to read in the index file, the PSPA index, and then organize your photos according to class or grade, or however you'd like them to be organized according to the information in the index. The software will then upload them all at once and create the folders for you. If you're using a PSPA index file, that feature is ideal and saves a lot of time. You can also do a traditional upload if you have 1 or 2 students just to put into a certain folder. This new print function allows you to create a PDF file so that you can print and proofread all the different students in a particular portrait folder. So we'll go ahead and let that finish for a second. It's actually going to open up a PDF in a new tab. And I can print this to a laser printer in the classroom at home or something like that. And I can walk through, I can mark it up with a pen, make any changes before I flow these photos into the book. If you do have changes to make with a portrait, you can click on the Info Preview button again here, and you can see all the PSPA data, and you can move through these and make any changes that you need to. The Teacher Portrait box allows you to specify a teacher in the case of a teacher being in the same folder as all the students. This Teacher Portrait checkbox will automatically move this photo to the first position regardless of alphabetical order on your panel pages. If you have multiple teachers, you can use this checkbox in association with the priority to flow your teachers in the correct order. Just as with candidates, you have a lot of functionality up here for organizing all of your photos. You can also click on Edit Metadata and make mass changes to the data that's in your PSPA index file. Next, let's take a look at Photo Post. This is an important and super useful feature that allows you to collect photo content from students, parents, teachers, and even community members. To use Photo Post, you can click on the New Folder button and create a new folder. I've already created one called Home Learning. And then I can navigate to this folder and click Invite. And I can type in a bunch of email addresses. And then I can type in a custom message. So for example, please submit some photos of your home learning environment. And I click OK. And this email will go out to all of the recipients. Recipients can click a link. It'll take them back to a page that looks like this, where they have an upload button and they can submit photos. Recipients of the Photo Post email cannot see the yearbook. They can't see anybody else's photos. They can't see candidates or portraits. So it's pretty locked down and very, very private. It's an excellent way to collect a lot more content for the book, especially when users are distributed as they are with distance learning this year. This year, Photo Post also allows you to upload portraits. And so if a student missed a portrait day, they can potentially upload their own portrait using this same functionality. A lot of other ways to drive users to photo posts. So the link that you get in the email can also be distributed in other ways. So through a website or through another email marketing program. Okay, so again, great feature and super handy, especially this year. Finally, we have clip art. Clip art, as I mentioned before, Pixami has thousands of pieces of clip art built into the software in all the most popular categories. Here, you can freely create your own folders and you can upload your own clip art in the same manner that we uploaded candid photos. You just click upload and upload some clip art files. So these can be your school mascot and so forth. Clip art files can actually be ping. And so if you look here, a ping file allows for transparency. This light blue represents transparency in this file. So if you know how to make a transparent ping file, then you can have an organic piece of clip art with a transparent background. Otherwise, you can also upload JPEG files to be used as clip art. Okay, I think that pretty much covers the Manage Photos page. So now we're going to go back to the Yearbook page. And just as a quick recap, we've got a new section that we created called Fun Times. We've uploaded some photos into our Fun Times section, and we're ready to get started with our design. So let's go ahead and click on Checkout for Editing. So this is where you go to launch into the editor and start designing your book. So we'll click this button right here. Okay, so this is the Pixami editing page. We call it the Advanced Design page or the Book Editing page. Right in the middle, you have a big layout of the current page that you're working on. Everything in the software is spreads, and so you can actually work across the spreads through drag and drop. Along the top, we have some basic tools. Again, there's a video tutorial and help, just like on every other page of the software. And then down below, we have these navigation thumbnails. These are actual representations of the current spreads. I can click on these to move back and forth through them within a section. I can see the section before and after the section that I'm working on as well. You can also use these left and right arrows to move through your section in this way. Over on the left, we have various categories of design features or design elements. Everything over here drags and drops onto the page. So I'm going to start working through, and we'll just go and touch on each one of these as we go. One of the things I'll point out, again, I probably already said this before, but Pixami's got a great solution for novice as well as more advanced users. So for novice users, you can start with these pre-designed pages here and really just concentrate on filling in photos and text. For advanced users, you can do a lot more. So I'll start with kind of the novice implementation or how a novice user would probably choose to work, and then we'll get progressively a little more advanced. So first of all, we'll just focus on the Themes tab. The Themes tab has these pre-designed pages that I talked about earlier. We've got hundreds and hundreds of pages all ready to go for you with different elements that are built in that can be moved around and organized. And so if you stick with an existing theme, then you get a really great result without a whole lot of design input. But if you need to tweak something, you can definitely do that. There are 25 and counting different categories, again, all in this content reference guide, and everything is drag and dropped onto the page. Okay, so next up, I want to put some photos into this page. And so I'll move on down to Candids, and I've got my Fun Times folder automatically loaded here to match my Fun Times section. And these are the photos that we uploaded. Again, I have access to all of the other photos here as well, and I can even upload directly onto this page. So if I just remembered a couple photos I forgot or something like that, I don't want to go back to the photos page, I'll just click on Add Photos here. But let's go ahead and we'll start by drag and drop. I'll just drag and drop my photos where I want them to go. I can also just click Autofill and just fill up the empty ones, and it'll automatically flow them in. If you don't like where the software put a particular photo, you can drag and drop and replace it. And so that's just kind of a quick trick, but again, you still have complete control to override anything that the software does automatically. Okay, if I click on a specific photo, I will get a toolbar for that photo. And so I'll go ahead and click on Crop. Okay, and I can come and crop this photo a little bit better and click Apply. If it doesn't quite fit the way I want it to, I can also just drag it. Okay, these bars here, the light gray bars, represent a safe area, and that's 1/4 of an inch from the inside of the book. And so you don't want to put anything in the safe area unless you intentionally want it to bleed. Like in this case, this image will bleed into the gutter. And that's fine if that's your intention, but if it's not your intention, just please pay attention to these, okay? The darker border is actually trim. So anything that you see in the darker border, anything you put there is going to be cut off. And so again, you don't want to do that unless you are intending to do that. If you put text into that darker border, you'll actually get a warning because typically you don't want to bleed text off the page. That's not usually a good design feature. Okay, so again, bunch of other features along here. We've got some basic like borders. So let's make a 6-point border. I can select the color and choose a color from the color picker. I can type in an RGB or CMYK value in case you have a specific color that you want to match. I've also got down here a color palette of my own colors that I can save here for use throughout the book. So if I want to do that, I'll go ahead and click on the eyedropper and I get the eyedropper icon. And let's say I will take this red off the jersey of this football player. Okay, and let's just take this paint bucket and we'll put that red right here alongside my other colors. And then I can go ahead and click OK. And I've got that red color here. And then if I want to, I can apply that border to all of the image on the page with the apply to all feature. Okay, if I don't like that, I've got undo and redo. So you've got undo and redo up here on your toolbar. And so, you can always back out of something that you did if you don't like. Okay, this is rotation. We've got some different effects here. If you click on effects, we've got edge effects. Edge effects are a little more advanced types of borders. I've also got rounded corners. I've got different kinds of frames. These are old school photo corners, a bunch of other stuff in that menu. Different shapes here. Okay, so edge effects are a lot more kind of designed effects that you can apply to your image. Tire tracks go great with the maps theme. You've got puzzles that go along with the puzzles theme and so forth. So feel to get really, really creative playing around with some of these edge effects. Okay, so those are a lot of the basic controls. Very easy just to start playing around with this stuff. Down here, we have a lot more advanced controls, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, for text, we also have built-in text boxes. And again, you click on a text box, click on the T, and you can type in some text. Okay, see that I have a spell checker, so I'll go ahead and fix that. And I can change my font. About 200 fonts built into the software right now. We've got styles based on what's available in the font, bold, italic, alignment, and so forth. This is vertical alignment. So all your basic text controls. For all the themes, we have fonts built in for the titles and the captions that match the whole idea of the theme. But again, like all the other content elements, you can change the standard Pixami defaults. And then we've got other things here. For example, we've got text color. So I can come in and I can change my text to that red color if I want to. I can add a border to the text box, fill the text box, and so forth. You get a little preview of what's happening with your text here. And I don't really like that, so I'm probably going to undo that. Okay, but that's how easy text is. Next on the page, you see we've got a bunch of different elements, and these are available on the Elements tab, which I'll get to in a second. But first of all, I can take the elements that are already on as part of the design. I can drag and drop, I can move them around, I can scale them. I can also click on this little color palette icon and change the color. And I'll go ahead and go with just a purple out of the color picker, click OK. So I can change the color of that element and get it exactly the way that I want it. I've got an element down here that's behind a photo. I don't really like that, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the down arrow, layer that, and bring it to the front. So that's one of the little more advanced features that you have. And again, I can move it out of the way. Okay, if I want to see what else is available, go ahead and click on the Elements tab down here. These are the back to school elements. So these match this particular theme, and you can see some of them were used already on this particular page design. So I can come in, I can pick something else that I like and just drag and drop it onto the page, and I can move it around again, scale it and so forth, position it however I like. If I don't like one, the way that it's placed, or I don't like the element, I can click and delete it. Okay, so again, you've got themes, and then all of your themes have a matching set of elements, and they have all of their fonts built in. Again, up here, I can come in and type in a title for my page. And this has a different font. And I'll go ahead and make this one bigger. And so I get a really nicely designed page without a whole lot of design skill. Elements, again, besides the back to school elements that match this theme, we have thousands of elements in all kinds of other categories. A lot of them match the themes, and some of them are just unique that can go with all kinds of different themes. Beyond using the themes, more advanced designers can choose layouts and backgrounds. So if I go to the Layouts tab, layouts are basically designs that include text boxes and image boxes. And so I've got all kinds of different layouts with all kinds of different grid layouts available. And we'll just go ahead and stay in this particular section, and we'll find a layout and we'll just drag and drop it. And so that will replace the existing layout and flow all of the images into these new image frames and flow the text into the text frames. So now you have a little bit more of a clean slate and you can do whatever you want. So a more advanced designer can come in and kind of delete the default image boxes, maybe move things around and position them the way that they want them to. Up here in the toolbar, we have a grid. And so if I show grid, and then I also have some options for the grid. For example, I can make this one an eighth or a half or a quarter of an inch spacing. I can then go ahead and snap things to a grid, and I can build my own designs. I can drag and drop this one and make it bigger. I can drag this text box out of the way. And so if you are an advanced designer, you can do a lot more custom things with their page designs instead of relying on the standard Pixami themes. You don't even have to use the Pixami themes, as a matter of fact. And so I'll come in and just kind of make my own design. And if you wanted to, you can incorporate clip art into your design. So if I click on clip art, clip art, again, thousands of pieces of clip art. Clip art is similar to our elements, but it's more subject-oriented stuff. So you can see there's all kinds of clip art available. If I scroll through here, you'll see I've got my Huskies logo clip art folder of my own clip art that I uploaded. So that goes right alongside all the Pixami clip art. And so I can drag my own mascot onto the page, and I can scale and move them around, and again, colorize and things like that. And so you can really come in, maybe I'll take this one and bring it to the front so it overlaps that one, and then move it around. So you can really come in and make your own designs here. If I wanted to make this image my background, I can click on this fill page or fill spread. So let's go fill spread and send it to back. I now got a low resolution warning. Before you fill an image as the background, make sure it has enough resolution. But let me just show you how this works. I'll take this image and I can come in here and adjust the transparency. Make it a little bit lighter. This background control up here allows me to clear the background or colorize the background. So let's go ahead and clear the background. I can also adjust the lightness of the background as well. And then let's turn the grid off just so we can see a little bit better. So now my page has taken on a completely different kind of custom look. And so you can continue on this way using the ability to freely move objects, using the grid and some of the advanced controls here to build your own custom pages. And so again, to depart from the themes as a more advanced designer, you have a lot more advanced functionality here that is really, really easy to learn and use. If you like this particular layout and you want to use it throughout the rest of the book, there's a Saved Layouts icon right here you can click on. If I click on Save Layout, I get multiple options here. So I can either save the left side of my design or the right side or both. I can choose to save the background if I want to. And I can also save my layouts in different categories. And so an advanced designer can build their own design, save them in categories, and then use them throughout the book. So let's go ahead and show you how that works. I'll click OK to save this left side layout. I get a little message here. And I'll move on down to my Saved Layouts tab. And on my Save Layouts tab in Basic, it'll be down at the very bottom. Here's my new layout I just created. So I can go to the next page, and I can drag this and drop this right on top of the next page. And then I can go ahead and maybe add some different photos. So again, you see, I just created my own unique design that I can reuse and modify throughout my book. And so that's how the Save Layouts work. So again, themes for basic users, but again, if you're feeling comfortable, you can add some of your own touches to it. Layouts and backgrounds for more advanced designers. And let's look at backgrounds a little bit. We made a mess, so I'm going to go over to the next page here, and I'll click on the Backgrounds tab. On the Backgrounds tab, I've got thousands of backgrounds available in different categories, and each category has a subcategory. This is where the original background came from, so it's going to default me to this Doodles category, but I can change it up a little bit by just dragging and dropping different backgrounds. If I want to, I can change to an entirely different category and get a whole new look to my page design. New this year, you can have different backgrounds on the left or right hand page. And so let's come back to my doodles, for example, and I can add a background just to the left hand page with a different one on the right. And so you see the background lights up here in green for the left page, the right page, or both. And so this is a great new feature that gives you a lot more design control. As I mentioned a minute ago, you can also come up here, also new this year, and colorize the background. So you can change the background to a different color from the picker, from your own custom color palette, and click OK, and that'll adjust the background. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of just the amount of control and the type of control and what it feels like to work with the software to create your own pages. It's really, really flexible, easy, fast, and you really can't get yourself in trouble. I recommend that people click on video help, watch that for a couple minutes, and then literally just jump right in. Use these undo and redo buttons if you don't like what you did, and you can always cancel out of here and come back and start over if you're just playing around. Okay, a lot of our customers will make like a sandbox or just a test section for different people to play around with. No intention of saving it. That's certainly fine. Okay, another note about saving. The software is constantly saving your pages as you move through the designer. And so say your computer crashed, your browser crashed, or anything catastrophic, power outage or whatever, wherever you are right at that point in time, when you come back and log back in the software, that's where you will be. So another cool feature, you never have to worry about saving or losing anything you've done unless you actually hit cancel. Okay, now we're going to switch gears. The only button over here on the left in the tab bar we haven't looked at is portraits. And so we'll go ahead and we'll go right over the top of here and we'll flow in our portraits. You can flow in your portraits on any page of the book. You can save your settings and use them throughout different sections of the book. So you can flow the same kind of portrait grid on grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, or you can flow them all in one section and move them into the other sections later. So there's a lot of flexibility with how you flow in your portraits and how you organize the process. If you're coming from other software, you should be able to mimic the methodology that you're used to. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll start by clicking on the Portrait Wizard button up here at the top of the Portraits tab. The first thing I'm going to do is select my portrait folders. Just for fun, let's flow two classes back to back. So let's flow grade 6 and grade 7. So all I'm literally doing is just queuing up. All the folders are available on the left. The folders I want to use are available on the right. So I'm just queuing them up by dragging and dropping them onto the right. And then I'll click Portrait Wizard to take me to the next step. The Portrait Wizard has two different modes, basic and advanced. Naturally, advanced mode has some more advanced level features. You can choose to work in whichever mode suits your needs best, and the software will remember your preference. You can also switch back and forth between basic and advanced mode anytime you'd like. So let's start by flowing in our portraits using basic mode, then we'll switch to advanced mode and look at a couple of additional features. Okay, so over on the right we have a preview of the currently active page, along with thumbnails of the entire section down below. You can navigate through the section and choose which page you want to begin your portrait flow. And then what I like to do is click Apply. When you click Apply, all of your portraits will be flowed in using the current settings. From that point forward, you can change settings and the page will update automatically. There are a couple different ways to add a teacher onto the page. If you want them in a larger teacher frame, you can select Yes, and the software will automatically reflow the portraits and make room for a large teacher frame. If teachers are in a different staff folder, for example, you can drag and drop them onto this page later on. If the teachers are in the same folder with students, you can check this box and teachers will automatically appear here. Okay? If you don't want the teachers in a larger frame, you can just click No, and the teacher will appear in the first position. You also have the ability to change the shape of the portraits and add borders. Text settings allow you to control the font, size, and color for a heading at the top of the page as well as the text for the names. So for example, I can go ahead and type in a page heading. We'll call this one Grade 6, and I can change the font. Okay, and click Apply, and we'll get a new heading at the top of the page. Name text controls the font for the student names as well as color and so forth, and then you can choose how you want to display the students, last name first or first name last. Once you've got the page laid out the way you'd like it, you can go ahead and apply the same settings to the rest of the pages in your section. So I do that by clicking Next Page, and then I can click Apply. This is actually the beginning of Grade 7, and so I'll change the text here to Grade 7 and click Apply. And then I'll go Next and click Apply. That's the end of Grade 7. So if you look in the thumbnails down here, I have Grade 6 all fit on one page, and then I have Grade 7 fits on a two-page spread. The Help and Info section below helps you keep track of your pages and your portraits. The Save and Load settings allows you to save these settings and use them again in other sections. The software also prompts you to save automatically when you exit the Portrait Wizard. Okay, now we're going to switch to Advanced Mode and take a look at some of the more advanced functionality. You'll see that Advanced Mode is laid out just like Basic Mode, but there's some additional functionality that gives you some more capability for fine-tuning and a little more design flexibility. As I said before, you can freely move back and forth between Advanced Mode and Basic Mode based on the functionality that you require. Advanced Mode, portraits are laid out in rows and columns instead of layout, so this gives you a lot more flexibility to fine-tune the number of portraits per page. You also have margin control, so you can move everything down and make room for clip art or collage, for example. Minimum image gap allows you to control the space between the portraits. Large teacher frames have multiple teacher options based on the number of columns that are available. For text settings, you can put the names below, just as you can in Basic Mode, but you can also drag and drop additional information below the portraits, such as a teacher title. You also have control to add multiple lines for your names, and a lot more control over flow settings. Flow settings represent what happens when you transition from one folder or one class to the next. The default in Basic Mode is the second class goes on the next page. In Advanced Mode, the second class can go on the next line or even in the next photo to allow you to combine classes together on a page or two classes on a page, top and bottom. When you have empty portrait frames, you have an option to display them or not. And if your names are positioned on the outside, you have control over what happens when you have partial rows at the end. Advanced Mode is a great option when you want ultimate flexibility with your panel pages. And just like Basic Mode, you can save and load your settings and apply them to other sections of your book. Let's go ahead and click OK to flow our portraits onto the pages in our section. The first thing it'll do is prompt me to save my settings. I can overwrite any settings that I have previously, or I can type in a new name for my settings. Now the portrait wizard will close and you'll be back in the designer with all the portraits automatically flowed onto your desired pages. At this point, you have complete access to all of the design functionality that I showed you earlier for candid pages to further customize your portrait pages. For example, you can change out backgrounds, you can add elements, change fonts, colors, size, borders, and everything else that's available. When you're finished with your editing session, you can click Save and Exit to return to the yearbook ladder. You may get a warning as you see here. In this case, I have a low resolution photo. Other warnings that appear might be text that's cut off on the edge, a portrait that's covered up with a piece of clip art, and so forth. This warning will continue until I address that issue. But for right now, I can go ahead and click OK, acknowledge it, and save my section. And now we're back at the yearbook ladder. Let's spend just a few minutes on cover design, and then we should be pretty close to wrapping up our demonstration. Covers are presented as an individual section in the software, just like the inside pages, and they have all the same functionality available. The software supports multiple cover types: hardcover, softcover, saddle stitch, or perfect bound, and multiple cover types can be enabled in a single book. So for example, you could have a hardcover and a soft cover at different price points. The software also supports the ability to copy one cover design to another cover design in the case of multiple covers. In sheets are supported in the same way, so you can have a separate section that allows you to design your in sheets. To design a cover, you'll click on the Edit button, just like you do for the other pages, and launch into the editor. Covers are designed using layouts, backgrounds, candid photos, clip art, elements, text, all the same tools that you use to put together your inside page designs, except for covers have a couple little cool design tricks that I'm going to show you that help you get a great looking result. First of all, I get to show you another trick because I want to delete this stuff off of this pre-existing cover. If you hold your Control key or Command key on Apple, you can select multiple elements in the software and you get a new little toolbar here. Since we're here, this toolbar allows you to duplicate these elements, align them to the left, top, center, or delete them. In my case, I just want to delete them so I can start fresh. If you click on the Backgrounds tab for covers, you'll see a category called 2021 Covers at the top. This contains built-in cover designs for 2021 for all of the major themes. In addition to this, we also have plain backgrounds for all of the major background categories. This allows you to design your own cover from scratch. Inside the 2021 cover category, there are two different covers. One is a ready-made design where you can simply add the text of your school. The other one is a recommended blank background for each particular theme. Now, if you click on Elements, you'll be taken to a Cover Studio element category that has a bunch of different themes for the year. You can literally just drag and drop a theme, place it on the cover. Of course, you can use the grid if you want to. And if you move on down, you'll also see that we have a bunch of different year designs. So I can take one of these and drag it onto my page as well. You can use the color control to adjust the color of your element. And then you can also click on the Add Text button and add a text frame and type in the name of your school. So feel free to play around and use the cover design tools that are available to you, or use the ready-made covers. Just like everything else in the software, there's kind of a novice mode and a more advanced mode. Take a look at the content reference guide that we provide, and you'll see a lot more design tips and tricks, as well as thumbnails and sample designs for everything that's available with respect to designing your covers. Now let's go ahead and click Save and Exit. And I'm going to show you one more thing that's important with respect to covers. If you click on the Preview button back on the ladder, you'll see a large preview of your cover. This area right here, depending on your binding style, is either wrapped around the cover in the case of a hardcover or trimmed off in the case of a soft cover. Pay very close attention to this and make sure you preview your final cover to make sure that no areas will be trimmed or cut off during the production process. Okay, so now let's wrap this up. As we've been working in the editor, we've been checking out sections by clicking the Check Out for Editing button. Whenever we're in the editor with a section checked out, the status here is shown as checked out. While a section is checked out by one user, it cannot be checked out by another user. Once we've checked it back in, as in the Fun Time section, it goes back to In Progress. The next step is to mark this section as complete so that you can have an advisor take a look at it and move it towards a finished section. Okay, the way to do this is by selecting the Mark Complete button. When I mark a section complete, it gives me a little prompt here, and it says the section will be locked until it's reviewed by an advisor. So I'll go ahead and click yes. The Fun Time section is now marked complete. It can't be checked out by any other editor. If the advisor is set up to receive emails, the advisor will also receive an email that says Gary's just checked in the Fun Time section. The advisor's job is to log in and review the section. This can be done in a couple of different ways. These three colored buttons over here are only available for an advisor user. Remember, I'm an advisor. No other staff members can see these buttons. These are specifically for advisor use. So the advisor can preview the section on the screen, or the advisor can click this PDF proof button and generate a PDF in a separate tab of this section. We'll give this a second here, and when it's ready, we'll click to view the PDF. The PDF that's generated by the software is low resolution and watermarked for the purpose of printing locally and proofing. One of the advisor's main roles in this project is to review each section in this manner as it becomes completed by the designer, and then mark it for approval or reject it with additional comments. Ultimately, the goal is to have every section approved, at which point we have a finished book. In this case, let's go ahead and reject this section. We can type in a comment. And click OK. At this point, the section status gets pushed back to In Progress. When this user logs in again, they will see the In Progress status, and they'll see that they have a comment designated by the red button on the icon here. So they can click on the info icon, and they can see the comment. They can also reply. These comments become part of the history or the record of the section. The editor can now check out this section again, make these changes, and then resubmit. Okay, now let's pretend these changes were made. The user marked the section again complete. The advisor can come in, review it once again, and mark it approved. This section is now reviewed, it's locked, and it can no longer be changed except by an advisor. The goal of the software is to approve each section in this manner, at which point we could submit our finished book. Once all sections are reviewed, a submit button appears up here at the top. At that point, there are multiple options for submitting the book for print. Check with your yearbook publisher for additional information on the final submission process. With that, we've wrapped up our demo. I appreciate all your time. Thank you very much for sticking around. Please contact your yearbook provider or contact Pixami, www.pixami.com, with any questions or if you need additional information about Pixami Yearbook Pro. Thanks again. Have a great day.